Reed Hastings didn't just stumble into success, he engineered a media revolution. The story begins in 1997 with a late fee from Blockbuster that sparked a billion-dollar idea. Rather than rage, Hastings saw opportunity, a flaw in the system begging to be fixed. That frustration led to Netflix's birth, a DVD-by-mail service with an edge. But this wasn't just convenience, it was the seed of what would become a streaming empire. Netflix's early model defied norms: no late fees, no due dates, and a subscription plan that felt futuristic. While competitors clung to brick-and-mortar stores, Hastings invested in algorithms and logistics, refining delivery speeds and user experience. It wasn't glamorous, but it was strategic. His team obsessively tracked turnaround times and user habits, building trust and loyalty. This wasn't just rentals, it was a frictionless system designed to outsmart the old guard. In 2000, Hastings made a bold move. He offered to sell Netflix to Blockbuster for $50 million. He was laughed out of the room. To them, Netflix was a niche idea. But Hastings saw it differently, not as competition, but as the future. That rejection lit a fire under him. Instead of folding, he doubled down, building infrastructure, refining tech, and positioning Netflix not just as a service, but a revolution in waiting. By 2007, DVDs were still thriving, but Hastings wasn't looking backward. While others chased volume, he chased vision. He saw broadband speeds improving and made a risky pivot: streaming. Critics called it premature, even foolish. But for Hastings, it wasn't about the now, it was about what's next. He invested millions into a feature most users barely noticed. That silent shift would become the lever that flipped the entire entertainment industry. Hastings made a controversial call. He split Netflix's DVD and streaming services, rebranding DVDs as Qwixter. The backlash was instant. Stock plummeted, users revolted. Critics called it a disaster, but under the chaos was clarity. Hastings was burning the boats. He knew DVDs had peaked, and to lead the future, he had to leave the past. Painful as it was, this moment cemented Netflix's full transformation into a digital-first platform. In 2013, Hastings placed his boldest bet yet: original content. House of Cards wasn't just a series, it was a statement. Netflix outbid networks, trusted algorithms over tradition, and dropped an entire season at once. It shocked the industry. No pilots, no weekly air dates, just freedom. Viewers binged, critics praised, and suddenly Netflix wasn't just a platform, it was a studio. The rules of TV had changed, and Hastings was holding the pen. While Hollywood relied on instincts, Hastings built Netflix on data. Every pause, rewind, binge captured and analyzed. Algorithms weren't just recommending, they were shaping production. Netflix knew what people wanted before they did. This wasn't luck, it was precision. Hastings believed storytelling could be both an art and a science. The result: tailored content that resonated globally: Spanish thrillers, Korean dramas, Nordic noirs. Data didn't replace creativity. It empowered it on a global scale. With streaming proven and originals thriving, Hastings went global. In 2016, Netflix launched in over 130 countries overnight. It wasn't expansion, it was invasion. Local partnerships, subtitles, dubbing, nothing was overlooked. From Sao Paulo to Seoul, Netflix became a cultural mainstay. Hastings wasn't just chasing scale, he was redefining entertainment access. Suddenly, stories weren't crossing borders, they were born to be borderless. One vision, one click. Billions of screens lit up in sync. Behind Netflix's growth was a radical culture crafted by Hastings himself. Freedom and responsibility wasn't just a slogan, it was policy. No vacation tracking, no approvals, just results. Employees were trusted to act like owners. Those who couldn't keep up let go with transparency. Brutal, maybe, but efficient. Hastings believed that innovation thrived under pressure and clarity. And while other tech giants built walls, Netflix built trust, and that scaled just as fast. By 2019, the landscape had changed. Disney, Apple, HBO giants were entering the streaming war. Content was no longer enough. Everyone had originals now. But Hastings stayed calm. He'd expected this moment. Instead of retreating, Netflix doubled down on originals, upped global investment, and raised prices without apology. Hastings believed differentiation wasn't about who joined the race, but who could keep reinventing. While others caught up, Netflix kept evolving. In 2020, as the world shut down, screens lit up. COVID-19 confined billions indoors, and Netflix became more than entertainment. It was escape, connection, routine. Subscriber numbers soared. Tiger King, The Queen's Gambit, cultural phenomena born in isolation. But this wasn't luck. Hastings had already built the infrastructure. While others scrambled, Netflix scaled seamlessly. The pandemic didn't create Netflix's dominance, it revealed it. A crisis became the ultimate proof of a vision fulfilled. In 2023, Reed Hastings announced he was stepping down as CEO. For many, it felt like the end of an era. But Hastings didn't disappear, he shifted to executive chairman. The move wasn't retreat, it was evolution. He debuilt a leadership team in his image: bold, data-driven, global. His vision was now self-sustaining. Netflix wasn't just a company anymore, it was a culture. And Hastings, still steering, just from a different seat. Reed Hastings didn't just reshape entertainment, he redefined leadership. his legacy goes beyond streaming. He's funded education startups, championed prison reform, and invested in future-focused philanthropy. For Hastings, disruption wasn't limited to tech, it was a mindset. Whether in boardrooms or classrooms, he believed in tearing down broken systems. Netflix was just the first act. The real impact, creating a world where innovation serves everyone, not just shareholders. Today, nearly every major platform mimics Netflix: binge drops, data-driven greenlights, global originals. But imitation only proves one thing: Hastings got it right. From Hulu to Amazon, even Disney, everyone is playing a game he designed. Yet while others copy, Netflix continues to pivot. Gaming, interactive storytelling, AI-driven personalization, Hastings built a company wired for change. The world caught up to his model, now it's racing to match his momentum. Reed Hastings didn't just adapt to change, he engineered it. What began as frustration over a late fee became a global habit. From DVDs to streaming, from algorithms to originals, from the US to the world. His story isn't just one of success, it's a roadmap for bold thinking. In a world hooked on content, Hastings proved the greatest product isn't entertainment, it's reinvention, and his legacy, still buffering but far from over. Even visionaries face backlash. Netflix has been slammed for algorithmic content, layoffs, and creative risks gone wrong. Hastings didn't dodge criticism, he dissected it. He admitted blind spots, adjusted course, and kept testing. Canceled shows drew outrage, but data spoke louder. To Hastings, failure was feedback. The goal wasn't perfection, it was perpetual refinement. In the court of public opinion, he didn't chase applause, he chased insight, and that kept Netflix evolving. Competition intensified, a new threat emerged: subscriber churn. Users jumped between platforms chasing the next hit. Hastings saw it early and responded ruthlessly: password crackdowns, tiered pricing, ad-supported models. Each move sparked debate but boosted retention. He knew loyalty wasn't built by locking people in, it was earned through relevance. By blending strategy with experimentation, Hastings turned churn from a crisis into a testing ground, not fear-driven, data-driven, always. Beyond content, Hastings pushed Netflix into tech hard. Machine learning wasn't just for recommendations, it now shaped trailers, thumbnails, even content greenlighting. Personalization became Netflix's invisible weapon. While others bought attention, Hastings engineered relevance. Each user's homepage, uniquely theirs. He saw AI not as a gimmick, but as storytelling's new frontier. In Hastings' world, data didn't limit creativity, it unlocked it at scale. And Netflix became more than a studio, it became a machine that learns. For Hastings, Netflix was never about TV, it was about time. He didn't just change what we watch, he changed how we watch. From binge drops to skip buttons, autoplay to interactive films, he dismantled the linear timeline. Entertainment became on demand, on your terms, and with innovations like Bandersnatch, even choice became part of the story. Hastings didn't just disrupt broadcast, he reprogrammed attention itself, and in doing so, rewrote the viewer's role. Hastings didn't believe in guessing what audiences wanted, he built a system that knew. Series like Stranger Things weren't lucky hits, they were algorithm-informed risks. Netflix analyzed genre trends, viewer drop-off points, even casting appeal, then paired it with bold storytelling. The result: global obsessions engineered at scale. Critics called it soulless, Hastings called it smart, because in the end, emotion still ruled, data just gave it the perfect entry point. Hastings knew a platform wasn't enough, Netflix had to become an ecosystem. Interactive films, games, merchandise, live events. Suddenly, content wasn't just watched, it was experienced. Kids played Stranger Things games, fans attended Netflix festivals, merch hit retail shelves. It was no longer just what you saw, it was what you lived. Hastings blurred the lines between viewer and participant, building not just a brand, but a world people wanted to stay inside. Old Hollywood scoffed at Netflix: no theater runs, no prestige, but Hastings played the long game. He poured budgets into Oscar contenders, built relationships with auteurs, and challenged the Academy's rules. Critics resisted, but wins came anyway: Roma, The Irishman, All Quiet on the Western Front. The message was clear: cinema wasn't dying, it was migrating. And Reed Hastings, he didn't ask Hollywood for permission, he forced it to evolve. For every leap forward, there was a price. Hastings often sacrificed stability for speed. Employees burned out, critics accused Netflix of quantity over quality, and some gambles flopped, but he never chased comfort. Innovation for him demanded discomfort. He believed the edge was where reinvention lived. Hastings didn't fear chaos, he harnessed it, because in his world, stagnation wasn't safe, it was fatal. And standing still, that was never part of the Netflix script. Reed Hastings didn't leave behind a product, he left behind a blueprint. Think long-term, break what works, obsess over the user, lead with trust. These weren't slogans, they were strategy. Every disruptor now borrows from his playbook, whether they admit it or not. From education to energy, his principles ripple outward. Hastings proved that reinvention isn't a phase, it's a mindset. And in the age of endless noise, clarity like his, that's rare power. Reed Hastings was never loud. No flashy keynotes, no viral catchphrases, just execution, quiet, consistent, relentless. While Silicon Valley chased hype, Hastings built infrastructure. While others pivoted for headlines, he pivoted for users. His style wasn't chaotic, it was calculated. And yet his fingerprints are everywhere: how we watch, how we lead, how we scale. In an age obsessed with noise, Hastings showed that true disruption speaks softly and still echoes everywhere. Hastings always planned for succession. He didn't want to be a king, he built a system. As co-CEOs took the reins, his presence faded from the headlines, but not the architecture. Every strategic pillar, originals, global scale, data first, remained. Netflix's DNA was his design, and like any great builder, he stepped aside not when it crumbled, but when it stood. The story continues, but the blueprint, that's unmistakably Hastings. It started with a fee $40 for a misplaced VHS. No fee, no frustration, no Netflix. It's a haunting what if. One small moment sparked a chain reaction that rewired global culture. Hastings didn't invent storytelling, but he reinvented its delivery. That late charge was the spark. The rest, vision, execution, and relentless iteration. History isn't always written by heroes. Sometimes it's written by people who refuse to pay late fees. Reed Hastings didn't wait for permission. He questioned what was normal, then rewrote it. DVD rentals, TV schedules, global media, he flipped them all. But here's the truth, his story isn't rare because it's brilliant, it's rare because he acted. So what's your late fee moment? What frustration could become your breakthrough? If this journey sparked something in you, don't scroll past. Subscribe now and explore more untold revolutions behind the screens we take for granted.